Kamar Tiller writes, "Hello, sons and daughters of AMC. I've been watching since the Man of Steel release and listening to you on my hour commute ever since. My question is, if Hugh Jackman retires and leaves the X-Men universe, is Fox already positioning Channing Tatum and Gambit to fill that hole? Are we almost to a point where the MCU has to think about turnover, and could Black Panther fill one of those roles? I personally always viewed him as Marvel's answer to Batman."
Interesting question. We talk about Hugh retiring a lot, and it hurts my heart every single time. I don't know if Channing Tatum as Gambit can fill the hole of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I just don't know. I do think that with Foxcatcher, his career has continued to evolve. He's really maturing as an actor, and he's really just, you know, getting that gravitas that we've been wanting to see, because he does have charisma. He is good at comedy. I believe in his talent. I just haven't seen that yet. And Gambit is one of my favorite characters, and I want it done right. And so when I first, he wouldn't even be my top 10 of who I would have considered that. So I don't know if he'll fill the hole, because Wolverine has been the thread that has pretty much connected this universe. And that's not an easy thing. I mean, I feel like maybe we'll get an Old Man Logan before he really leaves the franchise. Again, this is all wishful thinking, but I don't know. That's a lot to bank on Tatum at this time. I'll believe it when I see it. But Gambit is a really interesting, fascinating, strong character, and if done right, he could maybe ease our hearts a little bit, but those are really gigantic shoes to fill, and I don't want Hugh to leave us. I really don't. And then Black Panther, on the other note, I mean, it's a very, very different setup with, you know, the X-Men versus, like, the Marvel universe, because there's so many stars and there's so many gigantic superheroes in that roster. So if you do kill off, say, Iron Man, that's going to be a giant beating. But I feel like they would probably go with the Hawkeyes of the world, or one of the lesser. Sorry if you love Hawkeye, but that's how I see it. I like him too, but you know what I mean. So I feel like Black Panther is just really important, more for the diversity factor than filling a hole, because there's just so much. I mean, their universe is just not slowing down anytime soon. And X-Men, you know, even though part of Marvel, it's its own thing with Fox. So yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. I know you share my sentiments on Hugh.
I love Hugh as Wolverine. I'm taking this question more as who I think is going to be leading the X-Men, or who would be leading the Avengers. And for me, from the comic book standpoint, Gambit is not someone who stands out as a leader of the X-Men. Rogue has led the X-Men. Storm has led the X-Men. Magneto has even led the X-Men. So I think that there's a lot of Havoc even. So I think there's a lot of possibilities there. I would like to see Rogue's story a little bit bigger.
How about done right?
Along with Gambit.
Yeah,
the love story between Gambit and Rogue is one of my favorite things of all time in X-Men. So I would like to see a bit more of that if they're trying to push Gambit and Channing Tatum to the forefront. I think they're going to do a lot with him. I think they are really banking on his, you know, how much everybody loves him and his star power. And then as far as the Avengers, you know, I think that we kind of saw it with Cap and Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier has led the Avengers. We've also seen Wasp and the Vision lead the Avengers. So I think with all the other movies that we're getting, there are a lot of characters being put into place, and we've talked about this a lot. Not all the Avengers are going to make it through. No. And if that's, you know, Captain America, and we've heard Chris Evans talk pretty openly about the fact that, you know, he doesn't want to do this for forever.
He wants to direct. Good for him.
So I think that there is something to be said where you look at the comics and see what characters have led each team and go from there. And I'm hoping that that's kind of where they pull from.
They just really need to redeem Rogue, because she is one of my favorite females in comics and not in big screen. And it's nothing against Anna Paquin, because I love her as an actress.
It didn't work.
It just didn't work. They just made her such a whiny character, and she's not. She's a badass. So I hope maybe they would redeem that, because that is a good storyline.
I want that big red hair with the gray streak and the southern accent.
Christian?
For me, I like to talk about Black Panther first. And from what it looks like so far, it looks like Black Panther is going to play the role of Spider-Man in the Civil War, unless somehow they come to terms with Sony, which doesn't look like it's going to happen. So in that line, he could have a very big role. We don't know how it's going to play in Civil War. I like to go back into like my old writing for wrestling. And in wrestling, what you would do is that you wait for those characters to go out, and the ones that the big personalities, when they pop, you see how the audience responds to them. They're certainly doing that with Gambit. They know, and I do think, and I'm kind of on the same page with Campy, where I was not a fan of this guy for a long time. He won me over in Jump Street,
Yeah.
and then Foxcatcher. I'm on board.
He's great.
I'm a Tatum.
And he works hard.
He does, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Is that
So hard.
he's a guy that
He's
is
sweet.
not going to half-ass it. He knows what this character
Yeah,
means to
and
fans.
he
He's
will
going to
work
put the
his butt
research.
off.
So he very well could fill that hole. I think that it's possible.
Can he get the Cajun accent down?
Maybe he'll work hard on it.
I don't
but
even know if
one
they're
of the
gonna
things,
do that,
No,
though.
they are. He's
better.
talked about that. But one of the things you said though, in regards to he's not a leader, Wolverine isn't necessarily a leader either.
He's also the anti-hero.
They push him in a lot of the leads
But
of
he
the
had,
films.
in the comics, he has led
Sure.
the team.
But we're also sometimes we're a little attached to the comic lines, and we can move
Right.
it over.
But
if,
he's still
if
been a
the
threat
actor,
in the films,
Yes.
though. He's been really
yes,
important.
and if the actor can be the leader, and then maybe it's a different storyline, and X-Men fans will have to get over it. But overall, I could see it happening for both of them and it also is a matter of how good is Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. I think he'll be great, but we'll see.
And how do people receive Channing as Gambit?
Right.
I mean, because I think I was really excited about Taylor Kitsch. I thought he was
Me
a
too.
perfect
I
casting.
know.
But that's
that,
when the
like,
old
charm
yes, but
and
that was the old Fox regime. The
Yeah.
new Fox regime has a good handle on
Yes.
X-Men.
I
And
think
I
so,
feel like
yeah.
it is just seeing how it gets handled and how it's received and then
Yeah.
going from there.
Yeah, exactly. And Marvel, they like feeling it out and then investing, but they
Yeah.
have a great scheme. And you better believe if people don't gravitate towards Chadwick Boseman in that character, they'll have a backup plan of something
Yeah.
else.
I think it's interesting to take a step back and look at the bird's eye view that all of these cinematic universes are getting to the age and the point now where people are growing out of roles, growing too old for roles, and so we have to find these narrative solutions. So it's just the whole conversation is interesting because it's there's the huge comic universe, but
It's so exciting.
but then there's this whole okay, so Hugh Jackman is getting older. He doesn't want to play Logan
he doesn't
forever.
look that way, baby.
He looks great, but the point is that I find it interesting that we're in this now. It is like phase 2, not just of Marvel, but of like these films in general, and these kinds of questions come up, and it's very interesting. So.
Yeah. I'm excited. As John Schnepp said, it's the age of miracles for comic book fans. So.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC movie talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.